following program is paid for and presented by John DeMasi. The opinions expressed are not those of Town Square Media or station advertisers.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, as the man said, and it is no exception today. Boy, it is really nice out, and we welcome those visitors, those of you who call them shoobies. Come on. I call them visitors because they got money to spend, and we hope you're going to spend it here. Welcome to another edition of Talk with a Purpose. Every Saturday, we're here from 9 until noon right here on WPG Talk Radio 95.5. And also heard on 1450 AM and online at WPGTalkRadio.com. So you have many ways to listen to us. And it's a pleasure to have you with us. As always, the number here in the studio, 609-407-1450, 609-407-1450. And we have a bonus for you today, a real bonus, a $50 gift certificate to BF Mazio. Is that worth staying tuned to the program? Of course it is. So that'll be coming up a little bit later on in the show, but a lot to talk about here on the program. And again, we welcome your participation. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio, 609-407-1450. Of course, we begin, and I guess you can kind of predict what we talk about here in the beginning, especially about Donald Trump. And I understand he told Fox and Friends the other day that he's very close to choosing a vice presidential candidate. And the question again is, who will it be? Now, we've talked about this before, and we kind of kicked it around, who's going to be and who has their favorites and so on and so forth. But we'll kind of focus on that a little bit later on in the show. But for now, I wanted to focus on what Donald Trump can do to convince voters, for those who he hasn't convinced yet, that he is the man for the job. And he did it the other day. He started talking about the justices and the rigged system. All of that stuff is okay, but he's got to hammer home, and I mean hammer home, the important stuff. Like, for example, what we've had to live through under the Biden administration. And there's only a few things he can point out. I mean, he can just take these few simple things and point them out and hammer them home every day. First, are you better off now than you were in 2021? And the answer is a resounding no. But some people got to be reminded of that. In January 2021, inflation was 1.4%. Although Biden says it was 9%, but that's another story. Biden doesn't know what planet he's on. It costs, this is another thing, it costs $1,000 more at the end of 2023 for the same goods than it did in 2021. Think about that. You've had to take $1,000 out of your pocket to afford the same things you did 2 years before. That's really incredible. Donald Trump, hammer that point home. Hammer it home and keep hammering. Second thing, and this is obvious, the border. Rampant illegals coming through our border. I read the other day, and I don't remember where, but it was somewhere, New York, Pennsylvania, that there were many members of ISIS that had snuck through the border. I don't know how true that is, but here you go. The border, it's just wide open. Now, yesterday, Trump did say something about that, and that's good. but he's got to hammer the same things over and over and over and over again. Third thing, and maybe we're going to get a spokesperson on. We're trying to get a person on to talk about this. But Intuit Credit Karma did a survey, 2,000 adults. You ready for this? I mean, I couldn't even believe that I was reading this. 27% of the population are occasionally skipping meals because they can't afford groceries. 27%. And 28% are putting off high priority costs to afford groceries. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Hammer that home, Mr. Trump. 1 in 4 are skipping meals occasionally. Look, we've all skipped meals for circumstances beyond our control. That happens. But a consistent basis, skipping meals because you can't afford groceries, because the cost of food is so high, this is ridiculous. You can't go into a food store anymore. Everything's $5 or more. Then, and this is a sign of the times, 37% of Americans are now shopping at discount grocers. Again, hammer that home. And how about the dollar stores? There's one on every corner now. Before it used to be Walgreens. Now it's dollar stores on every corner. So the point is that Donald Trump has plenty of ammunition. Plenty. And he should hammer it home. And this business of, the rigged system, the Justice Department, forget it. It didn't do anything in the polls. And some of the things that Biden has done doesn't do anything in the polls. I think people know now that this is, it's a foregone conclusion. It has been for me that Biden has done a terrible job as president. How long can we sustain this unaffordable way of living? Think about that. Think about, it's 2024 now. Groceries are up. We're skipping meals. We're going to skip 2 meals? We're going to be down to 1 meal a day? I mean, think about it. What's it going to be like next year? Especially if Biden wins, which I hope not. But let's not talk about rents. I mean, rents are skyrocketing. Mortgage rates. My friend listed his house in Florida. He said, the market is soft here. Interest rates are 7.8. And on a home that size and that price, wow. So, this is a problem. Just don't continue to whine about the Justice Department and the rigged system. Yeah, we know all that. We know what they've done. But, like I said before, he has plenty of ammunition just stating the facts. Remember James Carville? When Clinton was running, he said, it's the economy, stupid. And it is. It's the economy. Enough said. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. And now with more bad news, Seth Grossman.
Good morning.
Morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you loud and clear.
Hello.
We're having a problem.
Hello.
We hear you. What's...
I don't know.
Well, he just hung up. Oh... We are having some technical difficulties, and let's see if we can try calling Seth. Can we? Hello, Seth? Seth? Calling Seth, Earth to Seth.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Me?
Yes, I hear you, loud and clear.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so anyway, about what Trump needs to do to win the election is to do what all the conservatives in Europe did to win their elections and stunning Europe, and it was all immigration. Am I coming through?
Yes, you are. Loud and clear.
Yeah.
Loud and clear.
So it's not just sealing the border, because we have about 9 million people already illegally in this country, and the mainstream, TV network programs were shocked at the latest polls that show that 62% of Americans want a government program to have mass deportation of every foreigner who is illegally in this country. And that's what Americans want. That's what Americans need. That's what is also driving the inflation. We're spending $1 trillion more than we're taking in. Much of it is related to the illegal immigrants providing the medical care, the food, the housing, the legal expenses, the crime, the prisons, the jails, everything else. So a major way to cut the cost of housing, there's a shortage of housing because we have 8 or 9 million people illegally here, is we've got to get rid of the people illegally in this country. And that will take a national effort with national leadership. And I think if the answer to your question, what can Trump do to show that he is capable of being trusted with leadership again, that's the issue that 2/3 of America care about. So let's see if he manages to do that.
Well, I hope so, because he did it again yesterday. He started whining about the justice system and all of that. He's got to stay away from that.
All right, but anyway, a lot of stuff going on, and it's all posted at our libertyandprosperity.com website, including our conversation last week, together with the transcript of what we said and the sources and the details of what we said. So this week, our libertyandprosperity.com topics are, number one, the ocean wind turbine project is coming ashore to Atlantic City. The ocean wind plans to have these industrial high voltage cables and transmission lines come to Atlantic City on the beach right at California Avenue next to the Ritz condominiums. And, all the problems with the surges of the electromagnetic fields, all the health effects, all that's an issue. And they're asking for local government approval at a hearing that's going to be held online on June 25th. So if you haven't heard about the hearing, you don't know about this project, go to the libertyandprosperity.com website. It's posted right there. And there's another downside to it. Because the beach of Atlantic City got some Green Acres money in the past, by converting a block of Atlantic City's beach into an industrial area, Atlantic City is being asked to put state Green Acres control over other land it owns, including the Sovereign Avenue boathouse, the baseball field, the Pete Polito field, the waterfront property in Chelsea Heights, much of Bader Field. It's going to create a nightmare of state restrictions on property that we've been using in Atlantic City for 100 years. So it's just a bad deal. And by the way, in Egg Harbor Township, they're planning to put the transformers and transmission lines on Hingston Avenue in Egg Harbor Township. So the Egg Harbor Township hearing before the planning board will be at the Township Hall this Monday, the 17th. The Atlantic City online hearing will be on June 25th.
I read your article this morning. Very disturbing as to some of the things that are coming with this wind turbine thing. Can you explain some of the disturbing facts? Like there was something about the connections. They're going to be some kind of really a problem.
Yeah, they're running the high voltage lines under the streets of the Chelsea neighborhood to get to Egg Harbor Township. And the whole thing is why? Why are we doing that? We point out again that electricity from the wind is just like electricity from the sun, which is just like electricity from lightning. You can't store it. Somebody had a great analogy. They said it's like having a factory where the workers show up whenever they feel like working and they go home whenever they feel like going home. You just can't run a factory like that.
Yeah.
And you can't run an electrical system like that, whether it's from lightning, whether it's from sun, whether it's from wind. And when you see something that is so obviously wrong and that they're not teaching it to our students in college at Stockton, they're not teaching it in our high schools, why are they doing that? And it's a short answer. It's a combination of corruption. Some people are making a lot of money producing absolutely nothing. But also there's an agenda to take down America by making us poor, weak, miserable, and divided. So we have all that laid out in the libertyandprosperity.com website. And, of course, we meet to talk about this every Saturday morning from 9:30 to 10:30 at Sal's. They call it coal-fired pizza, but they serve breakfast in Summers Point at New Road, Route 9, and Groveland Avenue. So we have that coming up. And also the school board elections in November. The elections are in November, but if anyone wants to be a candidate, the deadline is July 29th to file your petitions to get on the ballot. But if you're a serious candidate, there's a lot of preparation that you have to be doing right now. And I've been meeting with several people who are interested in running, and a lot of good people see the need to just not let the so-called teachers union appointees or the political people appointees fill these school board seats. And as we pointed out last week, the problems are not just in the Democratic, liberal, leftist areas like Atlantic City and Pleasantville. Some of the wokest and worst abuses in our public schools are coming from Republican towns like Upper Township, Ocean City, Galloway, and Hamilton Township, because too many Republican leaders have made their deal with the teachers union, saying you leave us alone to pick all of our political people in these townships and suburban towns, and we'll let you brainwash our kids in the public schools. And it just can't go on. So I'm hoping that people will be looking at our website. We have all the instructions of how to be a candidate, how to be an effective candidate. We're having seminars. And we really need to pay more attention, not just to the local school boards, but to your regional high schools, your mainland regional high school, Oakcrest Regional High School, Absegami Regional High School. We have to pay attention to that, and the fact that Upper Township really has a say in the Ocean City High School. So a lot to pay attention to, and July 29th is going to be here quicker than people think. So if you want to just stop grumbling about things and want to change things, here's your opportunity.
You teach this, don't you? Are you
right? Well, yeah. I mean, and people say, well, what do you know about politics? And I say, well, what I know about politics is, I've been punched in the face for 30 years, so I learned a few things. And, if you're going to get into the political world, which nothing is more vicious than the public school world, and too often, and you don't get paid, so it is tough, but it's well worth it, and it can be done. This is one of rare areas where just a few people can make a really big difference in their town. And if you've been thinking about it, please you go to our website and see what's involved. And it's you don't have to come to a Liberty and Prosperity meeting. I've been going around and I've been having these seminars on a simple how to win an election, how to be an effective school board member, not just with me, but with other groups around the state. Have been involved in providing speakers. So it's something, if you don't want to be in the bleachers, watching as a spectator, you want to actually do something, here's a great opportunity to make a real difference.
How realistic is it for someone to run for school board?
Hello?
Hello, you there, Seth?
Oh, okay, I guess I am there. Seem to have a rough connection. The other thing that's going on is this is June. It's Pride Month, and there's a new federal holiday coming up next week, June 19th. And it's just awful the way that we have our new national holidays no longer bring the nation together. I mean, when we had Washington's birthday, George Washington, the guy who gave up one of the richest men in America, sort of put everything at risk to lead the country. He was the first guy to be a successful general in war, but when the war was over, he just went home because he said, I didn't fight a war so I could be a dictator, I could be a king. I fought a war so you could run your country. Now the war's over, I'm going home. When they called George Washington back, he went back. So he was really a national leader. Abraham Lincoln, national leader, holiday to remember him. Easter, Memorial Day to remember the soldiers who lost their lives, including the 210,000 or rather 310,000 white Americans who died to end slavery and the 40,000 black Americans who died to end slavery. We had Decoration Day or Memorial Day to remember them, or Independence Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. All these holidays united Americans because every American shared the values of those holidays. But when it comes to Pride Month, no, it's that doesn't unite everybody. Why does one small minority's personal sexual preference, what is that? How does that help the whole nation unite behind something? It's pushing an agenda against the majority of the nation. Same thing with June 19th. What happened on June 19th? Well, there was a delay in freeing all the slaves after the Emancipation Proclamation. Why? Because the Southerners didn't want to give up their slaves voluntarily. There had to be 3 years of civil war in which, again, 350,000 Americans had to die to bring that about. So instead of honoring those 350,000 who died and the other 2 million black and white Americans who fought to end slavery, they're the ones who deserve the honor, not just a holiday to celebrate one small group of Americans. And by the way, when we have this black history that is taught, it gives black Americans the false impression that they were the only ones to face discrimination. The greatness about America wasn't that we were perfect and tolerant all the time. Many Americans were ignorant and intolerant, and every ethnic group, Jews, Italians, Irish. My grandfather was a brilliant engineer, but he couldn't get a job as an engineer because they were not hiring Jews in the top engineering companies in New York. So he had to go back to school and become a dentist. Does that mean America was an evil place? No, because in the old country, my grandfather couldn't have a chance to do anything. But in America, if you were faced discrimination, there were workarounds. So my grandfather worked as a dentist instead of an engineer. Many other, Italian Americans, Irish American, Polish Americans, people from the countryside who they called hicks, who couldn't get a chance, so they would do twice the work with twice the quality for half the money until they were accepted. And then eventually they became part of America's middle class, and their children became part of America's middle class. So too many black Americans think that they're the only ones who got a bad deal, and that's really tearing our country apart. And to have holidays promoting that is bad. And by the way, last week I talked about that horrible murder of the 3-year-old white toddler in Ohio who was stabbed to death, so supposedly randomly, by a black woman who was just walking by. But we forget that was the 4th event in the last 4 years where that happened. Remember in April of 2019, a black man just randomly threw a 5-year-old white child off the balcony at the Mall of America in Minnesota? Do you remember in August of 2020, a black neighbor shot the son of his white neighbor in the head because he was annoyed that the 5-year-old kid rode his tricycle on his lawn? Or what about August of 2021, when you had a 25-year-old black man randomly approaches a white couple having dinner at a outdoor sidewalk restaurant in Miami Beach, points a gun at their infant child. The father says, "Don't, he's only a baby." So the black man shot and killed the white father randomly, or at least they call it randomly. But it seems that these random crimes have been going on ever since that movie Django Unchained, with that fake history, and to have holidays promoting that kind of victimhood and resentment. That's not what national holidays are for. National holidays should bring us together, not tear us apart. So all that's posted at our libertyandprosperity.com site.
It sounds like you're going to have a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, I will. And one final point. One of the reasons, when we talk about this a lot, that we've had such wealth and prosperity and comfort in America is we've been a what they call a high trust society. People do the right thing, not because they're afraid of getting punished, but because they want to do the right thing. So you walk into a store and there's no sales clerk around. You don't just steal the stuff. You wait in line until the clerk shows up and you pay. And so many things. You go to a playground and the kids are playing. You make sure your child waits in line to let the other children go first. You don't just have the biggest one shove other people out of the way. And all that's in danger. I saw that in North Carolina, in Durham, North Carolina, you had an Airbnb where the people who rented the Airbnb for 5 days refused to leave. And now by time you have the courts and the police and the law get involved, it takes weeks and weeks to get them out. And it just ruins all the other people who were booking their stay to stay there. Could you imagine what would happen to the Jersey Shore, to Brigantine, and to Ocean City if you take a 1-week short-term rental and the people just don't leave and they say, "Well, you go get the courts. It's going to take you 2 or 3 weeks to get me out."
By that time, it'll be fall by that time.
Yeah. I mean, it would actually ruin people. People have mortgage payments and tax payments. So if we stop becoming a high trust society, where we follow Christian and Jewish Bible values, love your neighbor as yourself, if we get away from that and we just try to do everything we can get away with, even if it's wrong, we're destroying our country, and we have to get back to the basics. Well, libertyandprosperity.com, and there's a meeting going on right now at Sal's Cafe, Saturday morning, 9:30 to 10:30 at Sal's Cafe. Okay, have a good day, and I'm sure there's a few other things to talk about.
Yeah, thank you, Seth. Seth Grossman, Liberty and Prosperity, and the website libertyandprosperity.com. A lot of good stuff on that. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We're coming back with your calls. John, Bob, maybe you at 609-407-1450. Back after these words.
The finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere? Check. Award-winning gift baskets and fruit baskets? Check. Baked goods and prepared foods? Check. They check all the boxes. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield. And that's not all. Gourmet items, specialty foods, and catering for all occasions. It's all right there. Check them out online at bfmazzio.com. That's bfmazzio.com. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield.
Thank you very much. The Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with AMI Atlanticare, presents the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton, the blueberry capital of the world. Blueberry pies, bagels, scones, cannoli, ice cream, the Kiwanis pancake breakfast, live music from Stealing Savannah, and party with DJ Nikki G. Great food, crafters, kiddie rides, and the Cruising Classics car show. Over 1 million blueberries. Sunday, June 30th, Hamilton High School grounds just off Route 30 in Hamilton. Free admission, follow signs for free festival parking. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, brought to you in part by AMI Atlanticare, NJM Insurance Group, Rothman Orthopedics, ServPro Team Fabiani, the Atlantic County Utilities Authority, Adams, Raymond, and Hagen in the community, Roy Silverstein, Atlantic Blueberry, and Brown & McCarthy Insurance. Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton. Thank you very much.
We are back here on Talk with a Purpose, and again, 609-407-1450. 609-407-1450. Let's get started with John in Ocean City. John, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Yes, good morning. Actually, there's been good and bad alongside of each other all the way back to the beginning of our republic and go back to the 1619 Mayflower expeditions from 1619 to 1624. 24 expeditions came over. A lot of ships came over, and also the ships that landed in Virginia Company. So there was good and bad that were on those boats. So let's get real. But I watched a Michael Franzese podcast, and Tulsi Gabbard was his guest, and he just got right to it. He said, the scuttlebutt is that you're on the short list of President Trump's VP picks. Is that true? And she said, she confirmed by saying, yep, that's the word out on the street. So, but it's very Trumpian that he's not showing his hand. So that's good. I think it's real good. In fact, I think, we should get a think tank together, man, and plan what we're going to say next, because these people, they go right for your throat, man. They're not going to play with us. We shouldn't play with them. But anyway, I like to see Vivek Ramaswamy be President Trump's pick. And the reason why, he's a consummate businessman, but he's also green, and he's brash, and he's a loose cannon. Well, I think that's what they said about President Trump, too. So, and they're two businessmen to save our country. Harry Hurley had said the other day to President Trump, it's important he doesn't pick a swamp rat. And I always say a wolf in sheep's clothing, but it amounts to the same. So we have wolves roaming up along the banks of the swamp. We have swamp rats, alligators. We have all kind of critters, snakes. Yeah, that's what the swamp is full of. And the Republican Party. That's what we have, the Republican Party. And the term uniparty goes back to Wendell Willkie. So there's nothing new under the sun. That's the late 1940s. So there's nothing new under the sun. But when I was a kid, I looked at a piece of plywood, and all the different types of creepy, crawly insects were scary for cover. So so things are coming out in the open now. Things are becoming known. Things that were covered are being uncovered. It's a new paradigm. We're in the 21st century. I know I say that. It's like a parrot or a magpie. Right? Anyway, everything that's going on is not aluminum floor wrap nonsense. I'm sorry. The feudal system is an upper tier of men and women that live as kings and queens in a lower tier of serfdom. That's why the black middle class was diffused post-World War II, up through especially the 1960s. It was LBJ's Great Society, in reality a pipe dream, that dealt a death blow to that burgeoning black middle class. That's the truth, man. The proof that there's neo-feudalists that presently are behind the scenes, a totalitarian group of people plotting. Well, look, President Trump has been convicted of 34 felonies. Actually, they're misdemeanor charges that don't even amount to crimes. They're phantom charges is what they are. And there's not only Chinese nationals coming over our southern border, there's Russian operatives as well. Russian and Chinese operatives. And there's also radical Islamists coming over the border. Yeah, it's a mess, isn't it? We have Russian submarines and Russian ships off the coast of Cuba. And they want to build ICBM silos in Cuba, Mexico, and Venezuela. Nothing to see here. Move along. Everything's fine.
Jeez.
It's freaking crazy, man.
Wow.
Because the OPEC countries that made our dollar strong via the petrodollar system are now in the process of abandoning the petrodollar system, and they're more than considering joining BRICS. Some already have joined BRICS. Now, BRICS have a gold standard. They also, like I said last week, they also have their currency, their burgeoning currency backed by cobalt and lithium and other things like that, and uranium. But gold is their main. So we abandoned the gold standard for the petrodollar, and now the people that participate in the petrodollar are abandoning us. So we got to get President Trump back in office immediately, if not sooner. Thanks.
That's right, John. Good stuff there. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. Bob and Cape May. Bob, good morning. Welcome.
Hey, good morning, John. Look, what Seth brought up rentals here at the Jersey Shore, can you imagine the devastation that it would cause to people who invest their life savings for their house at the Jersey Shore?
That's right.
And there are a lot of people that, we from Philadelphia, from North Jersey, they work, they save their money, their dreams, the Jersey Shore house, but you have to rent their house out to make the mortgage. And you get squatters in there under current New Jersey law. Yes, you will be bankrupted if you make that decision and your rental agent happens to rent to the wrong people.
It happened to me. Yeah, it happened to me. Yeah.
That's horrible.
And believe me, it was lucky that a guy, and I was on the radio at the time, he listened to me and he said that the sheriff of Cape May County, it was lucky, but it took me 2 months to get them out. So
wow. I mean,
but that was 2 months of revenue that I lost.
So, this just shows you in the vast majority of the states in this country, and I think there's only one state that when the squatter situation became really prevalent, and it is prevalent in this country now, only one state enacted quickly, efficiently anti-squatter legislation. And you know what state it was, and you know what governor it was, right, John?
No, I don't.
Oh, yes, you do. It's Ron DeSantis.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Exactly. So, anyway, again, New Jersey, who knows when this creep Murphy probably likes the squatters being able to just destroy people.
Oh, so, yeah, sure. Yeah.
And the Democrat Party in New Jersey, again, they don't care.
No.
They care about the criminals more than they care about hardworking people. That's why Jack Ciattarelli needs to be elected governor.
That's right.
And even this election cycle, we have a Cape May businessman that should be elected U.S. Senator, Curtis Bashaw.
That's right.
So hopefully Mr. Bashaw will come on the air and explain exactly what he can do for New Jersey, because I think he would be a great senator.
Oh, so. I'm beginning to, I don't know him. I've never met him, but I'm beginning to read up on him and find out more. And by the way, thank you for that the other day. Appreciate it.
Of course. I'll tell you, John, he took dilapidated properties in Cape May. I've known the guy more than 30 years, right? He had all sorts of opportunities. He didn't have to come to Cape May. He could have made a lot of money anywhere else. He's a Wharton School graduate. He would have made money wherever the hell he went. But he came to Cape May, took over dilapidated properties. They were horrible. All right, they were abandoned properties. Right, made them into world-class resorts and employing hundreds and hundreds of people here in this area. So, he's done a lot of great things for our town. But anyway, the vice presidential sweepstakes. Again, I'm a big J.D. Vance supporter, and the choice here is, there are a lot of good people that Trump could choose from, but one is guaranteed to prolong the Trump policies for 12 years, not 4 years. The other guys that are involved in the sweepstakes, they can be co-opted, in my opinion, by the Republican establishment. So it'll be back to the old Bush Republican Country Club Party. Right. There's only one, and that's J.D. Vance. He will absolutely keep the Trump policies going. So again, that's and I think he's the front runner. I think he's the front runner.
We will see. Supposedly, Trump made his decision. He told Fox and Friends he made his decision. So we'll see. Bob, thank you as always for the call. 609-407-1450. That's the number here in the studio. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. And I'm John DeMasi. We have Craig on the line, and maybe we'll have you at 609-407-1450. We will get back to more of the show and your calls and all kinds of fun and festivities. But first, we talk about, you probably didn't think that you can find something for Father's Day at B.F. Mazzio. Well, guess what? You can. These chocolate-covered strawberries? Well, they have a really neat thing where they dip them and it comes out like a tuxedo. And it really looks neat. And you get 12 of them, and that's an extra added gift for Dad for Father's Day. B.F. Mazzio is the place, 601 New Road, Northfield. That's the location. And online, bfmazzio.com, bfmazzio.com. Remember, we have told you before, but maybe it didn't sink in. BF Mazzio delivers. That's right. They'll deliver to you, whatever your order is. And, with the holidays coming up, like the 4th of July, you talk about needing some specialty items like the salads and all of that stuff. It's going to happen. You can do it at BF Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield, online at bfmazzio.com. You know what they're famous for. Fresh fruit and produce, all kinds of other goodies. BF Mazzio. They're the place, 601 New Road in Northfield. We're coming back with more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
If you're interested in driving one of the finest automobiles on the market today, then you'll want to check out all of the fabulous new and pre-owned Lexus at Lexus of Atlantic City. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Driving a Lexus is like no other vehicle on the market. Test drive one for yourself at Lexus of Atlantic City. Whether it's new or pre-owned, you'll be more than satisfied. In fact, Lexus is consistently #1 when it comes to customer satisfaction. Visit Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Or you can check out their outstanding selection of new, pre-owned, and L-certified pre-owned vehicles on their website, LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. That's LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. Or, if you want more information, call 609-641-0008. Lexus of Atlantic City, now celebrating their 26th year in the area. A dealership that you'll enjoy. No pressure, no gimmicks, no hassle, no hype. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. And remember, always online at LexusOfAtlanticCity.com.
Thank you very much. The Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with AMI Atlanticare, presents the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton, the blueberry capital of the world. Blueberry pies, bagels, scones, cannoli, ice cream, the Kiwanis pancake breakfast, live music from Stealing Savannah, and party with DJ Nikki G. Great food, crafters, kiddie rides, and the Cruising Classics car show. Over 1 million blueberries. Sunday, June 30th, Hamilton High School grounds just off Route 30 in Hamilton. Free admission, follow signs for free festival parking. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival brought to you in part by AMI Atlanticare, NJM Insurance Group, Rothman Orthopedics, Surf Pro Team Fabiani, D'Amico Travel, Glossy Fruit Farms, the Hamilton Gazette, Herring Fire Protection, and Holdland, Longo, Moran, Dunst, and Dukas. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton. Thank you very much.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. Mostly sunny today, windy and less humid. The start of an extended stretch of dry weather. We'll see a daytime high of 86. Clear skies tonight with a low of 57. Mostly sunny tomorrow. Father's Day, we'll see a high of 83. Monday, very warm and more humid with intervals of clouds and sunshine and a high of 87. I'm AccuWeather's Drew Shannon on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Welcome back to Talk with a Purpose, 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. Let's talk to Craig in Northfield. Craig, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Well, good morning, John. How are you?
I'm good.
Well, happy Father's Day to you and your listeners. I know a couple people came on. Nobody mentioned Father's Day. And, Mother's Day is number 1. Christmas Day is number 2. Where do you think Father's Day falls?
Probably about 7 or 8.
Don't you wish?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
No. Look, that's what this government has done to the male, and particularly in families, you don't need the man in the house anymore. It's number 20.
Really? Wow.
Number 20.
Wow. Boy, that's low.
I think the snowman has is above Father's Day.
Yeah, that's right.
Day, but what a week, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, got a couple things. I don't want to talk too much and too long about the $10 billion that Biden wanted to give Ukraine. We got no roads here. Our infrastructure's bad. Our with the electricity, you could go bad any time, with our infrastructure, with the electrical grid. But he's still given another $10 billion guaranteed in case he loses the election. But nothing to do. Don't worry about that one.
Yeah.
You and I are going to talk about our negotiations that we've had over the last couple days. But we've talked about the insurrection here a couple times, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. And some people said, "Oh, Donnie Trump." And, he should have called the guard, but this week was a big week for the insurrection week. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know why, right?
You tell us.
Okay, well, first, the Hunter Biden laptop became real, okay, and Nancy Pelosi got caught on tape in her SUV talking how she was responsible for, not having the National Guard there. Also, Kash Patel also stated that he has the letter where Trump had 20,000 National Guard troops he requested, and it was turned down by the D.C. police and Nancy Pelosi. So, when you talk about the insurrection, they said that he was going to take over the government, and the news kept coming out. And, I'm going to toss this in. I send you some polls once in a while, that poll king thing. You see that, right?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay, so right now, the people of America, this is what they're saying. Do you believe that you're getting news delivered fairly, objectively, and accurately? 17% of the people out of 13,000 people that did the poll, 17% said yes, 82% said no.
Wow.
Now, the Republicans, only 1.8% said they're getting fair news. We got to know that. Just look at like you said, look at the people that are getting arrested and going to jail. Only Republicans. Notice that.
Yes.
You mentioned Bannon. Yes. And how about, remember the guy from the White House? He's in jail for another 4 months. Okay. Seth talked about school boards today, what he fails to bring up, why they try to get on these boards is because of the money. There's $1 billion at stake in Atlantic County alone just with school board money. Are you aware of that, John?
No, not at all.
Well, I'll say it this way. Atlantic City High School's $200 million, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you got EHT Mainland Pleasantville, right? There's another 3, so you got to have another 600 million, right? So we're at 8, and then I'm just going to toss in Absegami and Oakcrest. I'm not even going to mention ACIT.
Jeez.
So, with that being said, okay, now you know why either teachers or teacher spouses get on these school boards, because they got to rake in that money to keep it going. That's the one industry, if you noticed, okay, that's putting out a worse product, okay, but getting more money.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, and look, everything has changed about the way things are done, whether it be casinos. Remember, we used to have the slot machines. Now it went from coin to paper.
Yep.
Right? Yep. Gambling was, only at the casino, but now it's online.
Yep.
Okay? But even with the way cars are manufactured, robots and things like this, teaching and education is the only thing that hasn't been changed, and that's because of the stronghold of the NJEA.
That's right. That's right.
Right? Okay. I just want to go into some governmental news here. You saw Donnie was in, over there with the G7, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you saw what happened to Hungary with the European Union. They said, we're not taking any more immigrants. You know what happened? They said, yes, you are. The European Union's fining them $200 million a day.
Wow. Did we lose him? Oh, no. He's there. Oh, okay. I heard a bang.
Okay. So anyway, I do want to say you saw that this week Donnie was in D.C.
Yes.
And they had the baseball game, the congressional baseball game, right?
Yes.
Do you remember what the score was?
No.
Oh, it was bad. Like, it was almost like a wipeout. And so, all the Republicans circled around who?
Mr. Trump.
That's right. And they were what? Kissing his ring and kissing his rear end, too,
That's right?
Right. You agree with that, right?
Yep.
And who was there? The one of the top guys, two top guys that would talk about him all day and night negatively. Who was there to kiss his ring?
Boy, you left me wide open with that one.
That one. But these are two guys that, they know this is important. McConnell and Romney.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And you saw what AOC said, right?
No, what did she say?
And same thing with Schumer. He said, Schumer said that McConnell, didn't have any kachunis, to stand up to Donnie.
Yeah.
But, one of the people that should never talk, is Schumer, because, don't forget, he's got Nadler there, his cohort. Really? The guy that poops his pants on stage there. All right. So anyway, I just want to say to people, it's Father's Day, and we did have a breakthrough with John here. I want to say I did use one of your advertisers, Mazio's, for a little something.
Okay, good.
Little something there. Remember I told you those little, I'll tell you what, like that edible fruit with the,
That's a fabulous gift.
That's my favorite thing.
Yes.
That's my favorite thing to give. But we gave one of those out this week. But, we made a little breakthrough with John this week on our bet over there. But we came to a conclusion as to the restaurant. Am I correct, John?
Yes, you did.
Okay, we're not going to say which one. But I want people to know that I did go light on John because he's a senior citizen, and we're going to a place that is bring your own bottle.
Okay. All right.
All right, John. Hey, happy Father's Day, everybody.
You too.
Stay well and enjoy.
You too. Thanks for the call, Craig. Linda in Absecon. Linda, good morning. Welcome.
Oh, yeah, good morning. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
All you fathers out there, really.
Thank you.
Yeah, Trump was in D.C., and Mitch did the right thing, and the Republicans did the right thing. They gathered around, which is the right thing.
That's right.
And I think they even they had a birthday cake for him. He cut it, and he got along with them, and they got along with him. And, we're going to need some of those old Republicans, some of those Republicans that are a little annoying and down the middle. We can't, I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't agree with Bob. I like Bob Progner. In as much as we look at some of the old time Republicans, like, we don't want to go back there. Or we don't want any of the old stuff that they brought and aggravated us with. No, we don't. But we're going to have to take them, and we need them. And I like Marco Rubio. I like Marco Rubio a lot. I like DeSantis. I could almost vote for Marco Rubio over DeSantis, but I wouldn't because I trust DeSantis more. But the thing is, what do you do about Florida? How do you give up? I don't know if this is right. Do you give up 20 electoral votes just to have, a DeSantis or a Marco Rubio there? And the only way you do that is if you're going to win the presidency by 49 states, like when Reagan took it away from Mondale.
Yeah, so, that's true. Yeah. But I think what Bob was saying is that you want somebody who's going to continue the Republican ways well beyond these 4 years. So if it's J.D. Vance, he was saying maybe he runs for president, and then that's 8 more years. So it's really a 12-year swing. That's what his point was.
Not everyone is as astute as Bob Progner. I mean, the man is very, very smart on politics. However, there ain't anything wrong with DeSantis.
No.
And there ain't anything wrong with Marco Rubio.
Not at all.
except Marco makes me a little nervous because I think he and Trump could really rub one another wrong. But Marco is a good American, and DeSantis is a good American.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's an interesting choice, and boy, he's got his work cut out for him, Mr. Trump, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. But Linda, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. We have Andrea and Margie. Can we carry them over? We don't want you to feel left over. But you're a leftover from the first hour, okay? Because we want to give you some time to talk, and we're coming up on the news. And what are we going to talk about in the next hour? Well, since you brought it up, a lot of you brought it up. We're going to talk about Trump's VP choices, and I have some odds. These are my own odds. No survey here, just my own thing, and we'll talk about that. And I want to talk about Senator John Fetterman. He is in the news again, not for anything good. In fact, he's been in office. What has he been in office? A year and 14 months, 15 months. And since that time, he's been in the hospital, and unfortunate for that. But he's in the news again for a car accident. He had a car crash on Sunday, and he was determined to be at fault. Oh, boy. I understand there was a hospitalization and so on and so forth. We'll talk about that as well. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Coming up, hour number 2 is rapidly coming up. Hour number 1 is in the books, and you know what we always say. Hour number 2 on the way. Don't go away.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Hour number 2, Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5, also heard on 1450 AM and online at WPGTalkRadio.com. Good to have you with us, as always, here for our Saturday morning get-together. And so far, it's a lively morning and a beautiful morning at that. 609-407-1450 is our number here in the studio. We'll get to some of the things we're going to talk about this hour. But these folks have been holding for a while, so... they're leftovers. Andrea in Summers Point. Andrea, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
The leftovers are good. They taste better the next day.
That's right.
They do. And I'm with Bob. My money's on J.D. Vance because they agree with the same policies that carry over. But, no one's brought up we must win back the Senate and keep the Congress or everything will be for naught.
That's right.
You know something? You think you've seen everything with this guy, but Joe Biden headbutting the Pope. That takes the cake. And as you see the Pope, he's like, "Get your forehead off me, you weirdo!" Ew, it was disgusting. But Harry said something so brilliant yesterday when you asked the question, "Are you better off 4 years ago than today?" And Harry says, "Well, the illegals are saying yes," which is true.
Yeah.
I just can't wait for tonight. The anti-Semitic extravaganza in Hollywood, the Hollywood elites against Israel. So we're going to have Amal Clooney, her husband, and Julia Roberts, both has-beens. But the thing that gets me about Amal is here she is, an international human rights activist. I don't think anybody has whispered in her or her husband's ear that 2/3 of the women and children coming over the border are being sold into human trafficking. You know, I was just in the hospital, and they asked me over and over and over again if it were safe for me to go home and that my husband was a nice guy. So, and then again, now we only have eight, count them, terrorists, right? Only 8 that came over the border that are ISIS. Do you believe we might have a little more than 8?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yes. If they found 8, I'm sure there's more.
Well, I mean, how many pilots did it take to take down the World Trade Center?
Yeah, that's true. Not
8?
Yeah.
8?
Yeah.
So what are we going to do about this? What about Israel? This is kind of, it is kind of amazing because most of Hollywood is owned by Jews. Most of the production homes are owned by Jews. So, but these guys, are their money makers. But, yeah, you talk about hypocrites. But, that's all I wanted to say. You know something? I remember I think I called you October 7th, or it was the day after, and I mentioned that I never heard Seth say anything about it. I never heard Denny Levin say anything about it. I never heard, any of the well-known Jews, such as myself in Atlantic County, really mention it on talk radio. And Craig. We'll throw Craig in there, too. But maybe, I don't think we get to tune in tonight, but it should be just a fun, wonderful money maker. That's all I got to say.
Thanks for the call. I'll be sure not to watch it. Margie and Margate, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning, John, and happy Father's Day to you and your audience.
Thank you. Same to the men in your life.
Thank you much. I'm just calling to remind your listeners that the Egg Harbor Township Planning Board has a meeting this coming Monday at 5 p.m. And one of the topics that they're going to be discussing and voting on is whether to deem additional parcels of land in need of redevelopment. And we're hoping to have that either squashed or tabled at the meeting on Monday night. If these additional parcels of land are in fact deemed in need of redevelopment, they Atlantic Shores Offshore Wind, who actually intend to use those parcels to build substations for the offshore wind turbine project.
Oh, okay. I thought that's where you were going with this. Yeah.
Yes. So there's a big grassroots effort to prevent the offshore wind projects from coming to fruition, and this is a major part of that. There are alternative energy sources that people should be exploring. For example, in nuclear energy is cleaner, it's cheaper, it's smaller. So, again, the planning board meeting, again, is Monday night, 5 p.m. at 3515 Bargaintown Road.
Okay, well, hopefully people get out there and voice their opinion, and certainly against that. Thanks for the call, Margie. Appreciate it. And thanks for keeping us informed. 609-407-1450, that's our number here in the studio. We'll begin this discussion of who President Trump may pick for his vice presidential running mate. From what I've gathered, Kristi Noem and Nikki Haley are out. Okay. So, let's look at the long shots. This guy ran for president for about 2 minutes. Doug Burgum, 2-term governor of North Dakota. He's qualified. He's a Trump kind of guy. He's rich. But I think he's a long shot. So, Kristi Noem, Nikki Haley, and Doug Burgum are out. Another long shot, Dr. Ben Carson. And some folks have said, they like him, and I do too. And I think he's a brilliant surgeon, and he's done a lot of things as far as that's concerned. But a distinguished medical career, but he's 72. So I don't know if a 72 and a 78. I think Trump's going to want to pick somebody younger. So we're going to eliminate him as well. But let's go back to the phones. Mac in Ocean City. Mac, you're on Talk with a Purpose. Good morning.
First of all, thank you, sir. I've been listening to your show for many years, and you do a great job.
Thank you.
But what I want to point out to a lot of your listeners is what they may not know is I have a lot of liberal friends, and they're constantly posting the bad things about Trump and everything else he's just done wrong in his administration. Frankly, after where we are years ago versus today, I would vote for the devil over Biden. Let me tell you the reason.
Me too.
The reason why.
Me too.
Okay, let me tell you. Your reviewers may not realize this, but we have 2 Russian nuclear submarines docked in Havana. And why do we have them docked in Havana? President Biden, that went under the radar, trying to the okay for Ukraine to shoot American-made missiles into Russia. And what I look at is John F. Kennedy, who was not a good moral person, you know that.
Yeah.
But he made the right decisions. He kept us from the missile crisis in 1963. People forget this. If it wasn't for JFK, this planet would be a cinder.
Right.
So we're heading for the same thing because Biden has made the wrong decision time after time after time. And if you ever read Robert Gates, you folks may not know who Robert Gates is. Robert Gates was the director of intelligence under Bush, and he was the director of security services under Obama. Very smart guy. He's worked both sides of the fence. And in his biography, he indicates Joe Biden never made the right decision as vice president or as senator during his time in Washington, D.C., i.e., Biden voted against getting and going into to get bin Laden. I tell you, as I said, Trump has lots of issues. I know he does, but so has every president we ever had.
That's right.
All I know is 3.5 years ago, we didn't have 2 major wars going on. We didn't have a border that's wide open. We didn't have a president who said he couldn't do nothing about it, and now all of a sudden he has the power to do something about it. It just, I'm voting for Trump for one reason: my granddaughters. They're 13 and 14 years old. That's why I'm voting for Trump. I just wanted to tell your folks that.
Okay. Thanks for the call, Mac. Good stuff. Oh, he brings back many memories of JFK. Oh, I remember that. Remember the Cuban Missile Crisis? I was in grade school at the time. And we thought the world was going to end. Plain and simple. We thought it was going to end. We thought it was all over. In fact, I remember my buddies and I, we said goodbye to each other. I may not see you tomorrow. That was a tough one. And he did the right thing. Let's talk to Dan in Linwood. Dan, good morning. Welcome.
I'll give you a little metaphor here. You heard about the train ride in New York City where basically the domestic terrorists were in there and they said, all you Zionists, raise your hand now. This will be your last chance to get off the train. And you heard of that one, right?
No, I didn't hear that. No.
Well, that happened.
Wow.
So my question is, if you have Representative Cohen, Representative Nadler, Representative Schiff, Representative Goldman, and Senator Schumer on the train, and there was one man who's going to walk in the door who could basically save you at that point, would it be first choice is the current president, and the second choice is the fellow running for president? Who would you want walking in that car to help you fight off these guys?
The fellow running for president, no question.
Well, that's the metaphor because Israel is the basically that train car right now.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
And this business about Nancy Pelosi, the most important part of that film that was made by her daughter, because that film was also used in the January 6th hearings, is they edited out the part where she was blaming her aide, Terry, and then she was yelling at her daughter, why aren't the National Guard here? Why aren't they? Well, what do you mean, why aren't they here? You wouldn't authorize it. And the mayor of the mayor of Washington, they didn't put on a second or third shift. Where were these people? And the only guy who wanted to help was 3 days before said, I got 10,000 and in some reports 20,000 National Guard for you folks. And guess what? They said basically no. That's bad optics. We don't want fences built around the Capitol, which of course they had to do after that. But if you don't get Trump in now with this, with what's going on now with these gas prices, inflation, and those missiles in Cuba, I mean, John, what's the odds that those missiles in Cuba would be, there on those submarines if Donald Trump is in the White House? What's the chances?
Yeah, if Biden's there.
Well, it's the reality. Biden is here.
Yeah,
and those ships are there.
Yeah,
and this is the way he works.
Yeah.
And then if you're going to sign unlimited deals with Ukraine, Ukraine, God love the people who are doing the fighting and everything, but the government is proven that they're probably the third most corrupt nation in history. Ukraine's they have the oligarchs and who Hunter was dealing with. They weren't paying him off in candy bars up there. He was making $1 million a year for some reason. That's right.
That's what sure was.
And that was a stay-at-home job. You're a board of director. How many board meetings do you think he flew to Moscow to Kiev to participate in?
Maybe one, if that.
Probably to collect his money. And then when things went bad, they had to send Daddy over, and Dad basically told him, "We're not going to give you the $1 billion unless you fired a prosecutor." In parentheses, that's hunting down my son.
Yes.
John, happy Father's Day to everyone, and we have to really get busy in November because the ballots are starting. They're already starting to mess around with the election. So it has to be an overwhelming victory.
Yes, it is. Thanks for the call, Dan. Yeah, it's what can I say? That's the way it's got to be. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Bill's on the line. We'll talk to him after the break, and maybe we'll talk to you at 609-407-1450, 609-407-1450. We will get back to more of Talk with a Purpose in just a moment. But first, we're going to talk about more good stuff. Lexus, courtesy of Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road, EHT. There is nothing like driving a Lexus. I got to tell you, I mean, I was always one to pick different cars. Drive this, I'll drive that. I mean, it's since 2007. I've been driving a Lexus that long, between different models, of course. But now I got the 21 ES350, and it's got a lot of miles on it, and it keeps on running. Just keeps on running and keeps on running. I mean, just these cars, just nothing really goes wrong with them. I'm going to knock on wood because now I'm saying that. Watch something go wrong. Your engine has failed. No, I'm just kidding. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road, EHT, and online, aclexus.com, aclexus.com. Check out the web, and you'll see for yourself the vehicles. Too numerous to mention here on this program, but they're there and they're ready to be driven by you or maybe a relative or a friend and maybe a Father's Day present. Who knows? Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road, EHT. Remember, there's nothing like driving a Lexus. Lexus of Atlantic City, aclexus.com is the website. And we are coming back with more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
Thank you very much. The Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with AMI Atlanticare, presents the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th, In Hamilton, the blueberry capital of the world. Blueberry pies, bagels, scones, cannoli, ice cream, the Kiwanis pancake breakfast, live music from Stealing Savannah, and party with DJ Nikki G. Great food, crafters, kiddie rides, and the Cruisin' Classics car show. Over 1 million blueberries. Sunday, June 30th, Hamilton High School grounds just off Route 30 in Hamilton. Free admission, follow signs for free festival parking. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival brought to you in part by AMI Atlanticare, NJM Insurance Group, Rothman Orthopedics, Truist Bank, Surf Pro Team Fabiani, Jersey Shore Federal Credit Union, Kramer Beverage, McCree Brothers Blueberry Farm, Anino's Cannoli Express, and Master Wire Manufacturing. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton. Thank you very much.
I'm Seth Grossman for LibertyAndProsperity.com. Very few people talk about the 3 biggest causes of inflation. First, our federal government spends trillions more than it collects in taxes. To make up the difference, it pays people with paper money that has nothing of value to back it up. That means we need more paper dollars to buy things. However, an ounce of gold or silver usually buys the same as what it bought 50 years ago. We also have high prices because many federal, state, and local laws force businesses to waste lots of money on things that have nothing to do with health, safety, or producing their products. Finally, our government forces us to pay for expensive and mostly useless electricity from the sun and wind instead of cheap and reliable nuclear and natural gas power. Let's talk about this over breakfast. Meet us at Sal's Cafe at New Road and Groveland Avenue in Summers Point every Saturday morning at 9:30. Learn more at LibertyAndProsperity.com. Thanks.
If you would like to email me during the week, you can. Very simple. JDADV1@Comcast.net. JDADV1@Comcast.net. Send me anything you like, pro or con. We take them all on. JDADV, as in Victor, 1@Comcast.net. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Let's talk to Bill in Ocean City. Bill, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, John. I agree in part with your previous caller. We need a big vote turnout to support Trump, to overwhelm, I'm sure, the shenanigans the Democrats will engage in.
Oh, yeah.
But we can't wait. We can't wait for November. In New Jersey, we're allowed to start voting October 26th through November 3rd. By delivering your ballots to the Board of Elections or mailing them or putting them in a drop box. The vote can be, the election can be decided before November 5th if they put in a whole bunch of counterfeit votes into these drop boxes. So my question is, what security is placed on the drop boxes in New Jersey to prevent excessive counterfeit vote deposits? And I still haven't got an answer to that. They're locked up. You can't take votes out. You can't remove ballots. But how do you prevent somebody at 2 a.m. showing up and dumping hundreds of ballots in a box?
I don't think you do.
Well, then they have a leg up to cheat.
They have.
It's been done before. They did it in the last election. They have video of all of it happening across the nation in very key battleground states. But the key point is, start voting October 26th. Don't wait for November 5th.
Yeah, that's
Get
right.
your mail in or ballot, take it to the post office and mail it, take it to your Board of Elections. You can go vote in person at the Board of Elections. You're allowed to bear 3 ballots that are not yours in New Jersey. That's the maximum. But they have at the last election people putting tons of votes in these ballot boxes in key states on video. They have security cameras, but that doesn't prevent anything.
Yeah,
that's
right.
just recording the crime. So we got to get with it with security. Every Republican, Democrat, and Independent who knows that the Democrats are destroying this republic have to get out and vote for President Trump starting October 26th.
Good stuff, Bill. Thanks for the call. And by the way, that question about the drop boxes being secure, that is a Joe Girallo, Atlantic County Clerk question. And Joe is always favorable to coming on here on the show. we will certainly talk to him during the week and see if we can get an answer to that, because I'm sure he's thought of that. Joe Giraldo thinks of everything. Come on. Bob and Cape May is back. Bob, good morning.
Hey, John, I want to get into the propaganda that we hear from Biden and the neocons regarding Ukraine and the, in quotes, the totally unprovoked attack that the Russians did on Ukraine. I want to get into that, but just a quick statement about Rubio and DeSantis, both great people, particularly DeSantis. Marco Rubio's gotten a lot better over the years, a lot better, but he was part of the Gang of Eight that wanted to give pretty much blanket amnesty to all the illegals. But again, either of those choices, it's not worth a constitutional crisis for the vice presidency. Okay, if Florida's electoral votes, if it's Trump and Rubio or Trump and DeSantis, Florida's electoral votes for the vice president, Trump still gets the presidential votes, but for the vice president, Florida electoral votes cannot be cast for the vice presidential candidate if it's a resident of Florida. So it's just not worth having that constitutional crisis. But this Ukraine situation, first of all, it's amazing to me the billions that we're sending over there. We're even paying the pensions of retired Ukrainian bureaucrats.
Jeez.
Okay?
Jeez.
That's what that's part of it, of course, but the death toll, it's like something like 500,000 Ukrainian young men have been killed already, and like 300,000 or so Russians. This death toll, why? Okay, and the answer that we get from the neocons, from the Democrat and the Republicans that want war, we get that it was a totally unprovoked attack by the Russians. Well, there's always the rest of the story that you don't hear about. You don't hear that back as far as Gorbachev and Yeltsin, the Russians were told that there would be no NATO expansion. No NATO expansion. Well, NATO expanded a lot in the Eastern Europe. There was a lot of NATO expansion, so that was violated. Then when Gorbachev, or when Yeltsin and even Putin, they wanted to normalize relationships with the West. They told our diplomats that we just want to be normal. We want to be part of in fact, Putin wanted to be part of NATO. That was rejected. And it got to the point here where Putin, okay, he kept seeing NATO expansion closer to his borders. Ukraine became the red line, right? And it's tantamount to the Mexico and Cuba situation. We would not permit Red Chinese dominated Mexico to have a big army, Red Chinese weapons on our southern border. It is a non-starter. Well, same applies to the Russians and the Ukrainians. So, it's not that simple. It's not just simply good and bad. Yeah, Putin, okay, not a good guy. Nobody's saying he's a good guy. But all this killing, totally unnecessary. And there were peace proposals. All that needed to be done was a guarantee of Ukraine not joining NATO, and it's probably still on the table, okay? And the Russians would have gotten out. They would have annexed Russian territories that are historically Russian. They're ethnically Russian. The people want to be part of Russia. But no, our war machine in this country in our country. They want the bloodshed to continue. They want the money to continue. They want the profits to continue. So that's what this is all about here. It's the idea of a totally unprovoked attack is a total lie. And if any of the listeners want a real in-depth podcast on this, listen to Tucker Carlson and Jeffrey Sachs. Jeffrey Sachs is a very, very connected guy with CIA connections, with diplomatic connections. Really interesting. And you want to hear the truth about Russia and Ukraine, listen to that. I'm out of steam, John.
Okay, Bob. Thanks for the call. And good stuff. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. And rare moment in the show, some open lines. So good time to jump in here with a question. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. We were talking about the Trump candidate for VP. Who will he pick? And where did we leave off? Oh, here's a name. Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas. He is a Harvard graduate and extensive military service. That would be a good candidate. And I really never thought of him, but apparently being considered. But then again, he's eyeing 2028. But as Bob said earlier in the show, you want somebody to continue the Republican ways, if you will. So if Senator Cotton, he wants to run for president in 28, and he's vice president now, so you see where the 12 years comes in. So we'll see. We talked about this gentleman last week, Representative Byron Donalds of Florida. I don't think he would be a good candidate because, and again, you don't. Trump doesn't need any more controversy, and with what this guy has said, he said that blacks were better off with Jim Crow and so on and so forth. So that's I don't see that as being a good thing. So I'm going to eliminate him. This is my odds. I'm going to eliminate him. Now we get to the real viable candidates. And one that many of you have said, Marco Rubio. He backs a Trump plan to deport millions of undocumented people. Oh, yes. That's a good thing. But the negative is, and this is significant, is I think he's from Florida. So we got two Floridas on the ballot. Do we want that? I don't know. I don't see that. But then again, who knows? But that's a possibility. Marco Rubio. Then here's another possibility, and we've mentioned this one on the show. Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina. A distinct possibility because he is the only black member of the Senate, and he could bolster some Democratic voters over to Trump's side. I'd say he's a possibility. He's a definite possibility. And you think about it, Trump is making inroads with black voters. Maybe this is a way to go. Don't know. Where else can Trump go? How about this one? Representative Elise Stefanik of New York. Now, what I like about this one, she has defended Trump to the media several times, and she is the only viable female candidate of this group. Only one. And the name has been kicked around many times. We'll see. The fact that she's female, that's a plus. And I think that Trump really wants to look at the female vote because that could booster him there. We'll see. It's a really, this is a choice. He's got so many different ways to go. It isn't even funny. Any more candidates? Well, that's where you come in. 609-407-1450. Do we have any more here in this group? How about, this is the one that Bob has said all along. J.D. Vance of Ohio. This was the senator. He originally didn't like Trump when he first came out in 2016. He said on CNN, he admitted that he was wrong about Trump. He said that he was a very good president. So that's appears to be on this show the front runner on this show only. So those are the choices. Any more? Feel free to call 609-407-1450. John in Ocean City. John is back. Welcome back.
Yes, I've been listening to Douglas McGregor. He's a retired colonel. He's a leader in the field of geopolitical military strategy. And he says that propaganda out there that say there's an even number of Ukrainian and Russian soldiers being killed. He says, don't believe the hype. He says there's 600,000 Ukrainian soldiers dead up to date and only 50,000 Russian soldiers. And that's about the accurate. Even if that's inaccurate, it's not that inaccurate. Anyway, NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, was formed as a result of the Cold War. Now, they outlived their usefulness in 1991 with the dissolution of the Soviet Union. So they broke 17 treaties with Russia. They broke 17 treaties with Russia, and then we're going to set up an ICBM silo on the northeast border of Ukraine, which is the southwest border of Russia, which is in 15 minutes striking distance to Moscow. That's what got the ball rolling anyway. Now, I'm not saying Vladimir Putin's a hero or a villain. I knew that he didn't blow up his own Nord Stream pipelines. Those 3 Nord Stream pipelines were bringing in needed revenue for Russia, and much of continental Europe was dependent on that natural gas. So the idea that he blew it up is absurd from the start. So that's false propaganda right there. He's not a hero. He's not a villain. He's a Russian. Remember what President Reagan said, trust but verify, you know what I mean? So that's how we have to deal with these people. You know, even I like Vivek Ramaswamy because, okay, he said some kind of hard things about Israel. Now President Trump can temper that because President Trump's pro-Israel anyway. But, I mean, we can play hardball with our allies. Just don't stab them in the back. Britain's not in it for America. They're in it for Britain. Israel's not in it for America. They're in it for Israel. But if we say we're in it for America, we're xenophobes. Well, there's something wrong with us because we care about our country. And that goes for Jewish or Catholic or Protestant or black or white, the regular people of America. We've been targeted, man. We have too. And, yes, I was going to say some other stuff, but I can't think of it. Thanks.
Okay. Call back, John. Well, you know, you get so many things, you know, you want to say so many things and, you know, you forget once in a while. Oh, 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. 609-407-1450. We are going to talk to a couple of people. How's this for two callers from different areas named Mark? We have Mark and Mark coming up after the break. Talk with the purpose of the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Coming back with more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
Thank you very much. The Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with AMI Atlanticare, presents the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton, the blueberry capital of the world. Blueberry pies, bagels, scones, cannoli, ice cream, the Kiwanis pancake breakfast, live music from Stealing Savannah, and party with DJ Nikki G. Great food, crafters, kiddie rides, and the Cruising Classics car show. Over 1 million blueberries. Sunday, June 30th, Hamilton High School grounds just off Route 30 in Hamilton. Free admission, follow signs for free festival parking. The The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival brought to you in part by AMI Atlantic Care, NJM Insurance Group, Rothman Orthopedics, Serve Protein, Fabiani, Ocean First Bank, Stockton University Kramer Hall, Top Crop Blueberries, and Variety Farms. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton. Thank you very much.
The finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere? Check. Award-winning gift baskets and fruit baskets? Check. Baked goods and prepared foods? Check. They check all the boxes. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield. And that's not all. Gourmet items, specialty foods, and catering for all occasions. It's all right there. Check them out online at bfmazzio.com. That's bfmazzio.com. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. This afternoon, mostly sunny, windy, and less humid, high 86. We've got the start of an extended stretch of dry weather, too. Clear, starry night tonight, low 57. Father's Day tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high up to 83 to wrap the weekend. Come Monday, very warm, more humid with clouds and sunshine, high up to 87. I'm AccuWeather's Ruth O'Brien on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, and you can listen to any of our shows at any time. That's right. It's called On Demand. It's just like the television, You Google John DeMasi podcasts, and all of the shows, over 200 shows, come up. It's that simple. And you can listen to anyone at any time. I tell you, it's a marvelous invention. Talk with a Purpose. That's 227 shows we have, Chris? Wow. What did I talk about on show 205? I don't know. But you can do that. Google John DeMasi podcasts and all the shows come up. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Let's talk to Mark in AC. Mark, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hey, John. Good morning. Good to be on the show.
Thank you.
Hope you're doing well.
Thank you. Good to have you with us.
Thank you. My pick would be, if I were President Trump, I would pick Tim Scott. And I know you spoke of him earlier.
Yes.
And the reason being, I think he's a perfect fit for the ticket. He brings in the black vote. He's an educated individual. He's pro-Trump all the way. Some of the names that you mentioned earlier were names that attacked Trump in the past. And it's nice to see that Trump is considering them and, putting things behind because you need everyone to unite. But I would believe that Tim Scott would be probably the perfect fit for them.
I like that.
It sounds good, too.
I like that, too. Yeah, I like him,
Scott.
too. Yeah. Yeah, I really do like him, yes. I agree. Yeah, I think he would be a good choice. And that hopefully solidifies the black vote. And that's
right. Yeah. And I believe that President Trump is making inroads with the black vote. Certainly, I watched where 50 Cent, endorsed him, and then he was at the UFC fighting here in New Jersey just this past week, and one of the black fighters came out of the ring after he won and walked up to President Trump and shook his hand and said, "I'm with you 100%." So, pretty amazing what's happening out there.
Yeah, it is. It is amazing. Yeah, it really is. Mark, thank you. Thank you for the call. And now we have another Mark. Mark in Smithville. Mark, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hold on.
Hello. We hear a turn signal. That's his contribution? Turn signal? Is he there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Go, Mark.
It ain't Mark. It's Frank.
Oh,
speaking.
Frank.
Good morning, John.
Good morning, Frank.
No. Anyway, my first pick, if he's available, would be Glenn Youngkin, because Virginia is a race to be won. It's a tight race.
Now we lost. Yeah, Glenn Youngkin is he's the governor, right? Okay. That's a choice. That might be a choice. Okay. Let's see. Who do we have? Chris in Summers Point. Chris, good morning.
Hi, good morning, John. Thanks for taking my phone call.
Thanks for calling, Chris.
There was two things I want to ask you. The motorcycle law, New Jersey, where you have to wear a helmet, how much of a fine is that, John? What happens if a cop stops somebody? Because I saw a guy the other day who didn't have a helmet on.
How much is it? Chris is looking it up. I would think it's at least $200.
Yeah, because my buddy told me they would impound the bike and until he had a helmet or something while I'm riding the road, I guess. Would that be true?
Don't know. We're looking up the fine, but what's your other point?
Okay, the other point, the vice presidential pick I would think would be, I think Colonel Alan West from Texas. Have you ever heard of him?
No, that's a name we didn't hear of.
Yeah, he's a really good guy. He's a strong military background. I think he was an assemblyman at one time, and he took on Governor Abbott in the race and lost. But he's really knowledgeable. Brian Kilmeade has him on the radio show sometimes, and he really has some good talking points here. But listen to him, and I think Trump would be well served with a black man with a strong military background, because I think Trump's not as strong in there as he should be, John, with the military. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he has a military background, and
I mean, he's a full-bird colonel, and he's retired, but he's really, really smart to listen to him.
Yeah. I would think when you talk military, that's a little bit too, I mean, this is me talking. I would think he would be too close to what Trump is. You follow what I'm saying?
I follow. Yeah.
So, you want somebody like a Tim Scott who is, different than, let's say, Trump in so many ways. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. The only other point I would make is I think Nikki Haley, but the problem is I don't know if they could mend those fences. I think there might be too much bad blood between them back in the past. I thought she'd be pretty good.
Yeah, she's going to vote for Trump, but I don't think she's although I would think that she would be the perfect vice presidential candidate,
Right.
So
I think she would be. But,
yeah.
But would Trump be able to step down and say, you know what, let's just put it behind us and move on? I don't know if he could do that. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. By the way, it is a $25 fine. You were asking?
$25 fine. That's it. Okay, I was just curious.
So, oh well, it's still not worth it riding without a helmet. I mean, you got to be nuts to ride with. You really got to be nuts.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
When I saw that, I couldn't believe that. So
yeah,
I was shocked.
Thanks for the call, Chris. Craig in Northfield. Craig is back.
Well, good morning, John.
Good morning.
I got to say, I'm going to agree totally with Bob.
Okay.
Bob's very astute. When he says Vance with the Pennsylvania and Ohio, bringing in Pennsylvania, we need Pennsylvania. We need to bring that home.
Oh, yeah.
So we were talking, and I forgot to bring up, last night or the night before, while we were sleeping, our children got drafted. Did you know that?
No. What happened?
So what happened was the Congress, I guess, they voted, and if your child's 26 or younger, he's already been signed up for the draft.
Jeez.
It's automatic.
Wow.
Yeah. At least back in my day, I got to get a number.
Yeah, remember? I still remember my number, 136.
Oh, my God. Well, you're a little bit older than me. Mine was 135.
There you go.
Is that too crazy?
Yeah.
All right. I do want to get back to our little dinner. For those people that don't know, we didn't go with a big chain restaurant. We went with a local restaurant. And that's because it's very important that you spend your money locally.
Right.
Because that person will spend his money locally.
That's right.
When you buy at a big chain store, you know, and you put your credit card in there, okay, that money gets deposited in another part of the country. And none of that money builds any businesses here.
That's right.
All, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Well, that's right.
You know,
I agree with you.
That's the most important thing that we can do for this community. I do want to talk about those windmills real quick. So those that don't understand where that substation, Hingston Avenue, is, that's by the Walmart. So when you look at all those apartments and the Walmart, so if you go to Walmart there, you'll have that field and all that power, you know, coming and emulating there. And that's, I got to tell you, I'm not happy about that because that's right on the cusp of my hometown, Northfield. So I'm totally against that. And I own a few properties in Egg Harbor Township. So if the mayor of Egg Harbor Township is listening, please cast a no vote. We do not need this in our community. We do not need the road work. We don't need any of it.
No.
You know, we just don't need it.
No, I agree. I agree. Yeah.
That's all I'll leave you with, John.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
You too. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. In the 11 o'clock hour, we are going to give away a $50 gift certificate to B.F. Mazzio. Talk about shopping locally. We'll have a trivia question for you. That's you're going to have to earn this one, all right? For $50, you're going to have to earn it. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. I wanted to tell you my Father's Day story, which is a very heartwarming story. And, you know, when I was first in radio, I was at a station in Ogdensburg, New York. And usually when I say that, people say, what? Where? Who? Well, my father and mother drove up and spent the weekend with me in Ogdensburg, New York. And back then, you know, we didn't have what the sophistication we have now. So my father went to the local store and he bought a cassette recorder. And he recorded me on the radio using a microphone. It was so primitive. So we took it back to Philadelphia, and what they used to do was they would the neighbors would sit out on the step, and they would just talk. But just what's happening? And my father comes out on the step and he says, hey, you guys want to listen to a tape? He doesn't ask, he's asking, but he's telling. And he plays the tape. And it's me in my first radio broadcast. Oh, and I tell you what, that was the worst. I mean, I was so awful. I can't tell you how awful I was, but I really was. But he was so proud. And I tell this story every year on Father's Day. And to this day, we had a phone repairman come into the house and he said, hey, you want to listen to a tape? And he played my tape, the same tape. So that's my Father's Day story. And I wish for those of you like myself whose dad is no longer here, remember him well. And happy Father's Day to all of those dads out there. We hope that you have a real good day. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Coming up in hour number 3, the concern here at the shore is what's going to happen for the rest of the summer, especially 4th of July, with these shenanigans with the teens. You know, like there was a stabbing in Ocean City on Memorial Day. How are they going to prevent that from happening on 4th of July? That's we're going to talk about that in the 11 o'clock hour. Ron DeSantis got knocked down with one of his laws in Florida. We'll talk about that. Real quick, can we talk to Mike in Ventnor? We got time? Mike in Ventnor. Mike, good morning.
Hi, how you doing there?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I just want to say that I think everybody's making a mistake when they make suggestions for a presidential, vice presidential candidate. You don't want to take them from the Senate or the Congress. We want to retain the seats, not lose some. You never know who they're going to get replaced with.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, that's like a strategic error, I think. I think the best bet would be, I think Tulsi Gabbard would be a good choice because she has converted. She saw the errors that the Democrat Party is making, and she's a woman. She's a person, a dark-skinned person. She's a Samoan, if you want to go there. But I think that her views on what America should be are right along line with President Trump's, but she has a different way of approaching it.
Yeah, that's you know, she's been kicked around. I didn't really consider her, but that's another name. Yeah.
And she has a military, and she's still in the military. I mean, she has a strong military background, and you can't question her patriotism.
Yeah, that's true there. Yeah.
So
she checks a lot of the boxes, if you will. Mike, thanks for the Mike, thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate it. Tulsi Gabbard, that's another one. Well, we're getting some names. And some names that we didn't think about. But that's a good point, that if you take one out of the Senate or the House, then you got to replace that one. Of course, you could appoint them. Speaking of appointing, that's how Bob Menendez got in. He was appointed by Governor Corzine. Remember that one? Oof. Boy, talk about two losers. Oh, maybe we should have a losers club that we just talk about all of the losers that we've had in New Jersey. Boy, we could fill up at least an hour with that. Oh, hour number 2, it looks like it's in the books. Hour number 3 is on the way, and a lot to talk about here. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Hour number 2 is in the books, which means that hour number 3 is on the way, and a Mazio gift card at stake as well. Don't go away.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Hour number 3, Talk with a Purpose, every Saturday 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Our number here in the studio is 609-407-1450, 609-407-1450. We are wide open lines. Boy, you want to talk about getting in fast? You'll get in fast. 609-407-1450. Friend of mine was coming down the shore yesterday and told me that, wow, the traffic was really bad. And I thought to myself, well, that's kind of par for the course. It's a beautiful day. And I got to thinking, 4th of July is coming up, and it's a 4-day weekend because 4th of July is on a Thursday. And so everybody's going to take off Friday and then Saturday, Sunday. So it's a 4-day weekend for 4th of July, and I was thinking about what had happened Memorial Day here at the shore, and supposedly, or definitely happened, officials from several shore towns had a virtual hearing on the issue of the rowdy teens and the shenanigans and stabbings and all kinds of stuff. some have said that the Democratic initiatives have contributed to the problem, and the Republicans say, well, it's the Democrats' fault because we have bills in the legislature and they're just not passing, and so on and so forth. So, both sides are arguing that it's their fault. The citizens are demanding safety, and that's as it should be, because let's face it, the shore, for the most part, is a family resort. And, of course, Ocean City bills itself as America's greatest family resort. And they had a stabbing on Memorial Day. So we don't want to have that happen again. What will be done about this now before July 4th weekend? Would you have extra police? I'd say that's a definite. As Wildwood Mayor Ernie Troiano Jr. said, these kids have no respect for anyone, no respect for themselves, no respect for their friends, no respect for the police, officials, adults, just a total lack of respect for any form of authority. So what are the shore towns going to do? Again, extra police, curfews? I don't know. But, to me, I'm all about tourism and business. That's my livelihood. And if businesses fail, hey, then I fail. So we got to do something. And we'll see what happens for the 4th of July. And we'll see what the towns come up with as far as curfews and more police and so on and so forth. More shore time police officers as well, I think. Linda is back. Linda in Absecon, welcome back.
Thank you very much. Very good show.
Thank you.
Regarding Tulsi Gabbard.
Yes.
I guess a nice person. Not a fan of hers politically. Now, she was a Democrat, but she left the Democrat Party.
Yes.
To become an independent.
Yes.
To work for Bernie Sanders.
Oh, jeez. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. No. Oh, boy.
Yeah, but it's super intelligent, speaks well, speaks very well. And, but, don't know near enough about her, except except when she speaks a little bit about the military, which she's familiar with, and like I said, she sounds like a really bright lady, but no, not my cup of tea. Not for vice president.
I don't think she's going to. I would say she's a long shot. I would say a real long shot.
Yeah,
I would put her.
Hope so.
I would put her at 50-1. That's what my own odds, 50-1.
But so, who do you like?
I like Tim Scott. I like him, but you apparently don't.
No, I know I like him, but not for vice president. He hasn't shown me anything that I like enough to try to see myself going to the polls to vote for him. But you have Ted Cruz. I haven't heard anyone mention Ted Cruz.
Yeah, that's true.
Super bright. But I in fact, he was my first choice when Trump was running. And the love is gone. Not like when I first had it for when he was running. Yeah. And the Republicans have a lot of good people.
They do have a lot of choices. Yeah, and President Trump has a difficult choice. It really does.
I think we'll be fine. And I think the choice will be interesting.
Yeah.
For sure, this choice will be interesting.
Yeah.
So we have a women problem. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because I'd hate to see what they have in the Democrat Party all of a sudden, because there aren't any women, you go out and you elect and select anyone. So you have what our Congress looks like. A joke.
Yeah.
And so, okay.
Okay, well, thanks for the call, Linda. Thanks again. Bob and Cape May. Bob, welcome back.
Hey, John. Look, what you talked about, shore towns and crime, that's the kiss of death.
Yeah,
for the tourist industry.
Yes, it is.
So, we better pay attention to it, and we better not have soft politicians that are afraid to crack down on hoodlums. John, I want to. Tomorrow's Father's Day, and my father died in 2010. He was 102 years old.
Wow.
And your fathers are so important, and my father's life was he had a great childhood, grew up in a great family, but World War II happened in Europe, and he had a really great, successful business, and the Soviet hordes took it all away from him, all away. Yeah. And he escaped the freedom in the U.S. zone in Germany, and he came to this country. He was 45 years old, $10 in his pocket, couldn't speak English. He came with my brother was, I think, about 10 years old or 9 years old, and my mother from Europe. The Catholic Church made them, sponsored them, and they worked hard. In 4 years, they bought a house in Philadelphia. In 4 years, they paid their mortgage off.
Jeez.
My father worked 3 jobs. My mother worked. Okay. Then they bought a butcher store in Philadelphia. Did really well there. And then when he was 62, came to Cape May. Didn't know anything about the motel business. Bought a little motel off the beachfront. Tiny, not a big place at all. All right. When he was 70, we bought an oceanfront lot for $160,000, $160,000, and we built our motel there. When I think I was just out of college. I was like 3 years out of college. Okay. But it's so important what your fathers do for you. You know, the inner qualities that. My father was my best friend. All right, he was always happy to see me. He was always he imparted. It wasn't money that he imparted. Okay, and that's a real issue with people that are wealthy, that made money. They give their kids material things, but they don't give them the inner qualities of character that made them successful. That's what you have to give your kids.
That's right.
The steadfastness. The dedication to a goal, the self-discipline. That's what my father taught me. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's so important. And getting back to the political realm here, unfortunately, the big cities are a wasteland because fathers have been nullified by this concept that government can take and government payments can take the place of a father.
And they cannot, believe me.
No,
you
sure
said it.
Can't.
You really said it. Come on. What do you think the problems are? You talked about your father paid the mortgage off in 4 years. Try that today. you couldn't.
No, it's harder to do. I get that.
Yeah,
I get that. But you know what, John? He worked 3 jobs.
Yeah.
He worked 3 jobs. Okay, and he was he wasn't like he only had a 6th grade education back in Europe. But he wasn't dumb, and he was hardworking.
Oh, sure.
And he was a butcher, but he was a very talented butcher. He could. Our butcher store. Okay, we had smokehouses. We had equipment from Germany. I mean, I used to have to clean 25 pounds of garlic every week.
Oh boy!
Right, as a kid, and my hands you couldn't get the damn garlic smell off, right? And I used to have to cut up, for head cheese, I used to have to cut up pig's tongues and cow tongues.
Oh, boy.
Cooked.
This is wonderful radio. Hopefully,
anyway,
people aren't eating, Bob. Hopefully, people.
I don't know, those Europeans, what those Europeans ate, John. I don't know. Some of that, it wasn't very inviting to me. I never eat that stuff.
Yeah. I didn't either. Oh boy, we reminisce about dads. It's good stuff, Bob. Thanks for the call. John in Ocean City. John's back.
Yes, hi, I'm back again. I'm a bad penny. I keep turning up. Anyway, I'm a New Jersey boy that lived in Philly for about 3 years, and my best friend was born and raised Philly town. And I said, I hear it's pretty rough there in Philly nowadays. He says it's not the same place. I lived there in the early 1990s, so that crime is starting to infest the shore areas as well. I mean, it's a spiritual dilemma, man. Yes, it is too. Yep, it really is. We need to put the spiritual armor of God on. But anyway, I believe that there is a shadow government. Like George Carlin said, he says, "You think the politicians aren't running the show? They're put in place to make you think they're running the show." That's the difference between the shadow government and the deep state. The deep state, the glove that you see, and the shadow government is the hand inside the glove. And even President Trump mentioned, because I don't know the names of it, but I do know some of the names, but I'm not going to mention them. Families that run the show from behind the scenes. Yes, I heard him say it a couple times. So, and Vivek Ramaswamy is aware of the shadow government as well, but we don't want to talk about it too loud because we'll bring trouble to ourselves. It sucks. But anyway, as far as Tulsi Gabbard goes, the shadow government is not going to endorse a woman. They might put, they're chess players, okay? They might put Kamala Harris in as a place setter, but they're not going to endorse a woman. So, in fact, she has some shady dealings with friggin', what's his name? Bernie Sanders, for God's sakes, man. Oh, my gosh. An old school commie, right? But anyway, she's a person that loves America. She's smart. I don't see her as a deep state operative or a deep state apparatchik or a shadow government operative, deep state apparatchik or a East Whitney either. And I think it would be dangerous for President Trump to put her as a VP. So we have to think. Well, maybe we have to think outside the box now and again. Maybe. Thanks,
John. Thanks for the call. All right, we're coming up on a break, and we might as well give away this BF Mazzeo gift certificate. $50 gift certificate to BF Mazzeo, and we're going to make you earn this, okay? The longest-running TV drama used to be Gunsmoke. But it has been eclipsed by another show. And this particular show has run for 27 consecutive years. The longest running TV drama. What is it? And it's pretty simple. I mean, you should know this. 609-407-1450. First correct answer gets the $50 gift certificate to BF Mazzeo, 601 New Road, Northfield. And we will do all of that after these words.
The finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere? Check. Award-winning gift baskets and fruit baskets? Check. Baked goods and prepared foods? Check. They check all the boxes. BF Mazzeo, 601 New Road, Northfield. And that's not all. Gourmet items, specialty foods, and catering for all occasions. It's all right there. Check them out online at bfmazzeo.com. That's bfmazzeo.com. BF Mazzeo, 601 New Road, Northfield.
Thank you very much. The Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with AMI Atlanticare, presents the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton, the blueberry capital of the world. Blueberry pies, bagels, scones, cannoli, ice cream, the Kiwanis pancake breakfast, live music from Stealing Savannah, and party with DJ Nikki G. Great food, crafters, kiddie rides, and the Cruisin' Classics car show. Over 1 million blueberries. Sunday, June 30th, Hamilton High School grounds, just off Route 30 in Hamilton. Free admission, follow signs to free festival parking. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, brought to you in part by AMI Atlanticare, NJM Insurance Group, Rothman Orthopedics, Surf Pro Team Fabiani, D'Amico Travel, Glossy Fruit Farms, the Hamilton Gazette, Herring Fire Protection, and Holdren, Longo, Moran, Dunst, and Dukas. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton. Thank you very much.
And we are back here on Talk with a Purpose, 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. Think that Glenn wants to answer the question. Glenn in Pleasantville. Glenn, good morning. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning. Is it law and order?
You got to be specific. There's many law and orders.
Oh, well, law and order SVU.
You got it. You got it. That was easy.
Hey, I got to tell you something.
Yes.
That is my favorite show.
Me too. Me too.
You know what I do? I scan the channels. Well, it either comes on We or USA, but it's always on somewhere.
That's right. It is. Yes.
And I got to tell you something. That is such a great show.
Yes, it is. It is, yeah. 27 years.
You know what I like about it? I like two things about it. I like the trial, and I like when it comes on, somebody always finds a body somewhere, right?
Yes.
I always think that's funny. If the kids find a body, the jogger finds a body, or what have you, right?
Yeah.
And I like the investigation, how they go from the body to solving the crime.
Yeah, well, only on TV.
Okay, only on TV. You're correct.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
We're going to send you the gift card in the mail, Glenn, and thanks for listening. Thanks for the call. 609-407-1450, that's our number here. 609-407-1450. We were talking at the opening of the show about how Trump could win the election and hammering home certain points and really hammering home just a couple of things that Biden has really been horrible at, like immigration. Biden's great liability, besides his age, is his policy at the border, really, there's no policy. Just open the border, let them in. Let anybody in.
No problem, congrats.
So we apparently don't have a border policy, but in spite of that, as of 2022, the U.S. had roughly 46 million foreign-born residents. More than half of them are citizens. So no country in the world is better at absorbing and assimilating people. So if we had a specific policy which would lead immigrants to citizenship, that would be a plus. But we have to have a specific policy. And Trump can hammer this home because this is what he's good at just picking out the points and just hammering home the major weaknesses. And look, Biden's got a lot of weaknesses, but that's a major one. Just a policy, and we've heard that Trump wants to deport a lot of the illegals. That's good, but we just want people who are going to be here and be productive and be here legally. That's all we want. 609-407-1450. Let's talk to Teresa in Absecon. Teresa, good morning. Welcome to Talk with the Purpose.
Hi, John. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
I just wanted to fill everybody in on what's going on with the wind farms. This has been back at with a vengeance, and I don't know why people don't know about it. They're keeping it quiet, I guess, the way they did with when Orsted was out there doing sonar and we didn't know anything about it.
That's right.
But I just wanted to fill everybody in. They awarded 2 more contracts for off the coast of New Jersey back in January. And it's going to be humongous. If you thought Orsted was bad, this is going to be. Murphy wants to make this the biggest wind farm in the country and the world off the coast of New Jersey. They awarded 2 more contracts in January. It was signed off by the BPU. They got their contracts. The name of the companies are Leading Light Wind and Attentive Energy. Leading light wind is going to be putting in hundreds off the coast of Long Beach Island, and Attentive Energy is going to be putting in hundreds off the coast of Seaside Heights.
Jeez.
Now, this is off the coast of New Jersey. I don't want to, we're not going to isolate areas here. The ocean is the ocean, and this is being done to us off the coast of New Jersey. And now, what's happening is they're under contract now, starting in January, and they're saying the head of Attentive Energy is saying, "Oh, you're not going to be able to see them because of the curvature of the Earth." I'm thinking, the Earth, it's like you don't go out into the ocean and the Earth, you see this big round ball, like the Earth is round and you don't see it. Yeah. Okay? They're starting with their BS again. The other thing that everybody needs to know, I mean, they're under contract. This started in January. Who knows what they've been doing in secret out there, okay? And the whale and the dolphin deaths have not subsided. They're keeping, you don't see it in the daily news every day anymore, but there's been a tremendous number of whale and dolphin deaths off our coast. We're at record numbers. There were 49 dolphin strandings last year. That was the most we ever had in 10 years. And to date, we've had 27. So we're not even halfway through the year yet, and we're past that number.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Oh yeah, they're keeping it. It's not in the daily news anymore. We had a dead whale wash up again a couple weeks ago. They're not publicizing it the way they did. So we're well past the number of dead dolphin and deaths than what we had last year when they were out there doing sonar. And it's horrible. It's horrible what's happening. They're washing up all over. They're washing up in Sea Isle. They're washing up in Sandy Hook. They're washing up in Middle Township. Okay? Now, there was a lawsuit filed. The only way we were able to stop Orsted, if you remember, was because of the lawsuit. Right, that's right.
There was a lawsuit filed. Now, don't hold me to the date. I want to say maybe 2 months ago, where where you live in Brigantine, Save Brigantine Beach, and Save LBI, and I think it's called Save Our Coast. Those three parties filed a lawsuit again against these two energy companies that were awarded a contract again in January. And their basis is based that they don't meet the environmental standards. Okay? But it could be thrown out of court again. It could be thrown out of court because what can I say? I heard something on the radio before where they have said something now. No lawsuits have a standing in court about the wind farm. So I don't know what's going on about that.
Yeah,
but
Teresa, what can we do in your opinion? What can we do?
Okay, this is coming back to us with a vengeance. This is in place. Okay? And I think, nobody knows about this. I don't know what's going on. I think we need to start putting signs up along the boardwalk. We got to take it to the people. I understand you need meetings about the power stations and all that, but the people, you've got millions of people coming down here to the shore, and you got to start informing them. What had a real big impact is when Ocean City put those signs up along the boardwalk of the dead whales. I want to see pictures. I want to see pictures of the dead whales. I want to see pictures of humongous turbines.
Yeah.
I want to see what's going to happen to the seabed. I want to see all this stuff. And people were walking along the boardwalk and taking pictures of those posters with their cameras and taking it home and looking at it. And there was a tremendous response. And I think we need to start the summer's here.
Yeah,
we have an audience.
That's right. That's right.
What's everybody doing?
Yeah.
They're keeping it secret again. They're keeping it all secret. We got to start fighting back. This is our ocean. This is the United States of America. It's not just New Jersey. This is our ocean. It belongs to us. It doesn't belong to them. We are not just New Jersey taxpayers. We are U.S. taxpayers. taxpayers. This is a U.S. problem.
Right.
And we need to start putting signs up along the boardwalk. Take it to the people. Inform the people. Pictures. People think in pictures. Not a whole lot of words. Pictures of what they're doing to us. And they should have signs along the boardwalk in Seaside. They should have signs along the boardwalk in Wildwood. What's everybody doing?
Yeah.
We've had more strandings now than we had last year and half the year. There's 2 more contracts awarded. He wants us to be the biggest wind farm in the country, in the world.
Yeah. Well.
And he's not. Everybody say, "Oh, we need a new governor." Hey, that's not going to be for another 2 years.
That's right.
Election is not this year for the governor.
That's right.
There's too much damage that can be done.
That's right.
The other point I wanted to make is, I don't know what's going on, but it appears to me that there's a shell game going on. Ørsted was owned by a foreign entity, as you know.
Yes.
And they pulled out. They took how much of our money? Millions and millions and millions of dollars of our money. And they pulled out. And they cited things like supply chain issues and all these other issues of why they pulled out. Do you know that last week Governor Hochul of New York awarded Ørsted a contract to put in a big wind farm off the coast of New York?
Oh, boy. Yeah, you're right.
This looks like a shell game to me. How in the heck isn't she worried that they're going to have supply chain issues? Isn't she worried that all these other issues? What the heck is going on here?
Yeah, that's interesting. They pulled out of Jersey.
She awarded a big, humongous contract to Ørsted last week to put in a wind farm off the coast of New York. So they come here, they take millions and millions and millions of dollars of our money, they pull out, and then they open shop next door.
Teresa, thanks for the call, and keep us updated, will you? Please. Good call. So they're sneaking in more wind farms. I mean, they're bound and determined that they're going to have this. I don't know what to tell you. Jean Marie and EHT. Jean Marie, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning. I was meant to be the caller after Teresa. I am calling about the same topic, but not the wind farms. Without the substation, you have no place to put the energy that they're supposedly grabbing from those wind turbines.
Yes.
I need everybody who can hear me to spread the word that Monday night, June 17th, 5 o'clock, Egg Harbor Township Planning Board is having a meeting at the municipal building on Bargaintown Road. That's Monday night at 5 o'clock. You do not need to speak, and you do not need to be an EHT resident. Just show up. Your face means a lot. If you will just show up and listen and not even speak, but let them know that you are in opposition to this. Yeah, I want to talk to the people who are cash poor but real estate rich. If you have property, you're going to lose it. We are going to get decimated. If that is your major asset, you can kiss it goodbye if you can't get out of New Jersey fast enough. And you have to think of us as what will become the next Flint, Michigan. How many years have the people of Flint, Michigan been devastated by everybody turning a blind eye to them and their water supply? You think this isn't going to happen to us? It's going to devastate the Pinelands. It's going to devastate EHT and surrounding areas. And yes, the focus has always been on the windmills, but it's all of us. It's going to take years for them to tear our landscape apart, just to lay the piping that they have to run those wires through, those electric magnetic forces that are going. You're going to have reports of cancer that people are going to be like, oh, yeah, well, remember the dolphins? Yeah, well, that's what's going to happen next. Okay, so we have to get the word out. What can you do? That's what you can do. With response to Teresa about Hochul, well, Ørsted was a Swedish company. Atlantic Shores is an Italian company. Why don't they want them off the coast of Italy or Sweden?
Yeah.
They never go away. They keep their permits. Ørsted was coming to the end of their contract with New Jersey and owed us $300 million. So they ended up working a deal out with Murphy. Murphy gives them $150 million back, and they take it to New York. They don't go away unless you got to cut off the head of the serpent.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
they are
right.
going to hurt us. So please come out to. They're not voting on substations on Monday night. They're going through the normal course of business, and the planning board will vote to either accept or to refuse a redesignation of additional parcels of land. They've already got parcels of land, additional parcels of land to be deemed as in need of redevelopment.
Jeez.
And that's where the state wants to put that designation on there. Murphy wants them to be looked at like, oh, well, you know, that's just a poor income area. Why not redevelop it? And then we'll put a business in there. This is evil. This is just evil. It is a money grab. And if somebody says, well, it's alternative energy, well, so is nuclear. Let's explore that.
Yeah, that's
you know,
right.
It's cleaner, it's cheaper. They are going to kill us by just robbing us of our tax money. You know, anybody who has well water, anybody who has to pay American Water, New Jersey American Water Company, you don't think that's going to be affected? I can barely afford the water out there now.
Yeah.
This is a money grab.
It
Monday
sure is.
night, June 17th, 5 o'clock, the planning board is meeting. Please show up, Bargaintown Road, at the municipal building.
Okay.
And thanks for your support. Okay.
Jane Marie, thanks for the call. Keep us updated on what happens, okay? 609-407-1450. I think we're going to break here. And then we have Greg and Sarah and Dan and maybe you at 609-407-1450. You know, Murphy is really a snake. I mean, he wants these wind farms no matter what. And you know what? We're going to be stuck with these things, and he's going to be at his villa in Italy when he leaves the governorship. 2 years can't come fast enough. 609-407-1450. Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We're coming back. More Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
Thank you very much. The Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with AMI Atlanticare, presents the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton, the blueberry capital of the world. Blueberry pies, bagels, scones, cannoli, ice cream, the Kiwanis pancake breakfast, live music from Stealing Savannah, and party with DJ Nikki G. Great food, crafters, kiddie rides, and the Cruising Classics car show. Over 1 million blueberries. Sunday, June 30th, Hamilton High School grounds, just off Route 30 in Hamilton. Free admission, follow signs to free festival parking. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, brought to you in part by AMI Atlanticare, NJM Insurance Group, Rothman Orthopedics, ServPro Team Fabiani, the Atlantic County Utilities Authority, Adams, Raymond and Hagen in the community, Roy Silverstein, Atlantic Blueberry, and Brown and McCarthy Insurance. Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton. Thank you very much.
If you're interested in driving one of the finest automobiles on the market today, then you'll want to check out all of the fabulous new and pre-owned Lexus at Lexus of Atlantic City. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Driving a Lexus is like no other vehicle on the market. Test drive one for yourself at Lexus of Atlantic City. Whether it's new or pre-owned, you'll be more than satisfied. In fact, Lexus is consistently #1 when it comes to customer satisfaction. Visit Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Or you can check out their outstanding selection of new, pre-owned, and L-certified pre-owned vehicles on their website, LexusofAtlanticCity.com. That's LexusofAtlanticCity.com. Or if you want more information, call 609-641-0008. Lexus of Atlantic City, now celebrating their 26th year in the area. A dealership that you'll enjoy. No pressure, no gimmicks, no hassle, no hype. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. And remember, always online at LexusofAtlanticCity.com.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. This afternoon, mostly sunny, windy, and less humid, high 86. We've got the start of an extended stretch of dry weather, too. Clear, starry night tonight, low 57. Father's Day tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high up to 83 to wrap the weekend. Come Monday, very warm, more humid with clouds and sunshine, high up to 87. I'm AccuWeather's Ruth O'Brien on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, and remember, we have our Talk with a Purpose replay, which happens on Sunday. That's tomorrow, 5 until 7. we have a condensed version. 3 hours into 2. So if you miss it, you want to catch it tomorrow, 5 until 7, right here in WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Let's talk to Greg in Absecon. Greg, good morning. Welcome.
Mr. DeMasi, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Windmills, question. What do we do when pods start washing ashore?
Yeah.
That could be 20, could be 5, could be 20, could be 30 whales at a time.
Yeah.
Will it happen? God forbid it does, but something to look forward to in our future. Our governor, he's going to retire to Italy.
Yeah, that's right, he is.
Primary contributors to the windmills as a corporation. Where do you think it's from?
I don't know.
Italy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. He has a little explaining to do, I think.
Yeah.
And as far as President Trump and the upcoming election, the people don't have to hear about what's happening. They want to hear about solutions.
Yeah, that's right.
And if there's anybody that can give them, it will be Trump.
That's right.
And that's what people want.
Right.
We know what the hell's going on. It's how we solve it.
That's right. And Trump can be the one to solve
it.
You too. Thanks for the call. Let's talk to Sarah. Sarah, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Yes, good morning. I hope you're well.
Yes, hope you are too.
I'm doing the best that I can. Two things. Number one, when Trump got the guilty verdict, one of my neighbors was jumping up and down, and there was clapping, and then I said, well, what has Biden done? And previously I was a Democrat, and my neighbor was shocked and went inside and just slammed the door, and my neighbor could not say one thing. I said, if you're happy spending more and more and more, then Biden's your person, but that person could not say anything at all, and about what Biden has done for the United States. And second of all, Father's Day. I'd like to say one thing about Father's Day. My father taught me a lot. He taught me about honesty. He taught me about hard work. He taught me about respect. He taught me about manners and to be a lady. And children are better off with fathers. And those who do not take part in their children's life, shame on you. And mothers who stop their fathers seeing their children, shame on you. Because fathers should be the first role model in a child's life. Fathers are very, very important in success of a child's life.
That's right. That's right.
And I lost mine to cancer, and he fought very hard. Very, very hard. He never was lazy. He worked every single day. He's lived within his means. And the lessons that he left with me, I shall continue onward to be decent, honest, and have respect.
Yeah, that's a good message, Sarah, and thanks a lot for the call. That makes me think of another story. A lot of stories on Father's Day. You're bringing up. For 1 year, I played organized baseball, and I thought I was good because I was one of the best guys in the neighborhood. But when you get out of the neighborhood, then you find out how good you are. And my father came to every game that I was at in organized baseball. I played for the Wissanoming Boys Club in Northeast Philadelphia. My father came to every game, and, some of the games were, they weren't local. They were, far away, and he came. So that told me something. Really, what Sarah said, fathers are very important. And we've kind of diminished that with the things that are happening today. 609-407-1450. Dan in Linwood. Dan, good morning. Welcome to Talk with the Purpose.
John, just imagine, and this, I think Seth would enjoy this statement. For want of a gas pipe, we have the windmills.
Yeah.
Could you imagine B&L England expand it with natural gas? Don't knock it down.
Yeah.
What have you done? What have you done? You took a plant capable of providing energy for all of South Jersey and probably beyond, right?
Yeah.
With natural gas from Pennsylvania. And here you're dealing with foreign entities, all these parts that you see coming in. They're not made in Sheboygan. They're made in Germany, and they're made in different places, and China's sending the material for the inner workings.
Yeah.
And they use a tremendous amount of oil, and they're tough to maintain. And the big question is, when their life is done, what do you do with them?
Yeah.
Now here, and on the other end, you have a gas pipe.
Yeah. You
have none of these problems.
I just don't. You know what concerns me? What somebody said earlier about whales washing up on shore. You know, these electrical components. That's what concerns me. That all this electricity underground. I don't see it. I just don't understand it. So it just seems to me that it would be eventually harmful.
The noise itself will kill the fishing industry.
Yeah, that's another thing. You know, the fishing industry is very important in this area. I mean, why don't we kill everything?
Well, we're on our way. I mean, if you want to be environmentally sound, you take all the postal trucks. You don't buy new ones. They want to buy new EV postal trucks. Retrofit the postal trucks with natural gas, like you saw with the recycling trucks are all natural gas.
Yeah.
So the postal routes are defined routes. So if you have the gas and you have them in Atlantic City area, and you could put up another one with natural gas. If they ran on natural gas, there goes your diesel problem. There goes your
That's right.
There goes your carbon problem.
That's
and
right.
Then you take that and you say, how many bus routes run on defined routes? And the answer is all of them. So convert them to natural gas, because if a giant recycling truck could run on natural gas, so could a bus.
Sure.
So we just don't think. I mean, we have. We used to be a nation of thinkers. There was one girl that came over from Austria, a young girl named Hedy Lamarr, and she became a great actress. But
I remember.
She was also an inventor. I don't know if you remember that.
No, I didn't know that.
Well, her and her boyfriend George would, after they shot the movies with Clark Gable and the Spencer Tracy, all the famous actors, she was terrific. They would go onto a drafting board, and they had vials, and they would mix up stuff. Now here's a girl. She worked with Howard Hughes. Was very he was the biggest airplane builder at the time, but he had a problem. He couldn't get the planes to go a certain speed, and he approached her because he knew she was an inventor, and so she said, well, let me look at it. And she said, your problem's not power, your problem is resistance. So what she did was she drew the fastest fish and the fastest bird and combined them. So everything you see these days, all those flat-wing planes, even in World War II, every wing was flat. The curvature of the wing, that was her invention.
How about that?
Bird
How
and
about
the fastest fish.
That is amazing.
And she also created the Spectrum. The Spectrum was, she's in the Inventors Hall of Fame, but she was, unfortunately, she got, I think, Alzheimer's at the end, and she wasn't able to appreciate it. She created the Spectrum, and this was for the German U-boats, so they wouldn't knock out our ships. And she basically changed all the signals. Now, what she really invented was the Spectrum, which was what we see today as Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and most of the internet components. And she did it all on a drafting board.
Jeez, boy.
And the concept of the internet, they use multiple pianos, her and George, and the communication of all into one, that became the way the concept of the internet. And they did it all with computers, before computers.
Jeez.
And they said her contribution is worth between $30 and $300 billion right now.
Wow. Whoa.
And the truth is, if there was no her, there would be no trillions of dollars, and it would have been delayed because her technology was so good. President Kennedy used it in the Cuban Missile Crisis. When the Russians were doing their communication, he was able to block off their communication, and they couldn't get ours. That's how smart she was.
Boy.
And guess what? An Austrian Jewish girl, legal immigration, she was a gift from God because she created all these things. The traffic light, you see, the red, green, and yellow, the shower curtain, if you put your hand out, she invented that. She invented the Coca-Cola for the troops, where you put in a tablet, you put it in water, you got Coca-Cola. She had so many things.
Wow.
You couldn't imagine how she contributed to the literally trillions of dollars if you get down to it.
I never knew that. I tell you.
Well, I'm giving you an assignment. Research Hedy Lamarr, and there's a movie out about it, and it's a documentary, and you'll be shocked.
Oh, I wish will. Hey, Dan, thanks for the call, and thanks for the information. Oh, Teresa in Absecon is back. Teresa, welcome back.
I just had two more points about the wind farms
that
I had left out that I think are pertinent. I want everybody to know, when Murphy awarded contracts to Ørsted, he also awarded a contract to Atlantic Shores.
Yes, I know that.
Atlantic Shores is out there. Who knows what they're doing with the sonar out there, okay?
Yeah.
And the people need to go online, and all you need to Google is how many dolphins have washed up on New Jersey shore, and it'll pop right up.
Wow.
We're beyond the numbers now than what there were last year at this time. And the other thing I wanted to mention is these two new contracts, they're going to be putting in more than 1,000 of them off our coast. And people need to realize they're going in like 40, 42 miles off the coast. And they don't belong in the ocean. They don't belong. This is going to be a biblical proportion disaster. You have to remember, if they're putting those in 40 miles off our coast, 1,000 of them and more, okay, they're just getting started. He's awarding more contracts. And he said it, that they're going to have to blast the seabed floor from 40 miles out all the way in. Forget the power stations right now. They're going to have to blast the seabed floor for 40 miles to bury those cables.
Jeez. Oh, my God.
They're blasting it. They're not just laying it. They're blasting it. And this is going to be a biblical proportion disaster.
And you would think how many dead fish are going to?
And they're coming in from where? No, because all the food is on the seabed floor. That's the shrimp. That's your oysters. That's your clams. Okay. They're doing away with our food supply. Where are these coming from?
Oh, man.
China, and China knows it. And Biden's getting them from China, and China knows it. It's going to affect our food supply. A major source of our American protein is seafood. And it's going to be all wiped out.
Boy.
And then don't forget that each one of these wind farm towers is going to be enormously tall, and they're very, very prone to lightning bolt strikes. They go down. You wouldn't believe what happens when the lightning strikes it. And we have thunder, and each one holds 62 gallons of oil. They're struck by lightning. Go online. You can see the videos on YouTube.
Boy.
When they're struck by lightning, you're going to have a tremendous oil spill. We live where the whales migrate and the birds, and we also live where there's thunderstorms. Thunderstorms in the summertime here come up out of nowhere with lightning. What's going to happen?
Boy.
We're going to have this is going to be a biblical proportion mess. And the other thing is these people have never done this before. None of these contractors have built anything like this to this proportion or done it before. If you remember, off the coast of Block Island here in the U.S., They put in a few of the wind farm towers. Ørsted did it. They were nowhere near as tall as what we're getting. I think they were like 1/4 the height, and they only did a few. They didn't do 1,000 of them. And what happened was, if you read up on what they did, when the people on the beaches were seeing all these cables washing up, they would go to the beach and they would see these cables washing up, pieces of cable. And they were like, what's this? What's going on?
Yeah.
Here, what happened was when Ørsted blasted the seabed and laid the cables, they didn't put them in deep enough. So the currents, the strength of the water and the movement of the water and the currents tore all the cables apart. And the cables were washing up on land. And guess what? Nobody knew that the wind towers were not working. Until they started finding these pieces of cable.
Teresa, thanks for the call. We got to get one more call in here. Chuck and Absec. And Chuck, good morning. Welcome.
John, good show.
Thank you, sir.
Listen, I'll back up on what Teresa just said. But you know what, John? You know what everything has in common with the windmills, the crime in the inner cities? Who's the governor of New Jersey? What is he again?
Murphy.
And what is he again?
Democrat.
And okay, now Ørsted's going up to New York. And who's the governor of New York that's going to allow this to happen?
She's a Democrat. Yep.
Okay, and Trump got 34 counts in Manhattan. What were all they? Okay, who's in charge of all the inner cities where the crime's running rampant across the United States?
Democrats.
Who are they?
Democrats.
Yeah. Okay.
You're right.
I think even Chris Christie, the Trump hater, would even not be on board with the windmills because he was against Reggie back in the day, which was RGGI, Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, which put all this crap into motion. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, and by the way, John, who's trying to force us trying to kill the combustible engine and make us all run on battery cars and all that? Who are those people again?
Democrats.
Yeah. Okay. So wake up, people. Okay.
Oh.
I don't vote for Democrats.
That's
they
correct.
Are ruining the country.
That's right.
And John, who left the Who said that I had to leave the party because they left me?
Jeff Van Drew.
That would be Ronald Reagan.
And Ronald Reagan,
That would be Donald Trump. Okay, that would be Jeff Van Drew. That would be Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
Okay? I like Tulsi Gabbard as a VP pick, and I also like Elise Stefanik.
Thank you for the call. We're out of time. Thanks to Chris Coleman, our program director, producer. Thanks to you for making our show, which it is. Without you, there's no me. I'm John DeMasi. Thanks for listening. Talk with a Purpose. We'll come back next Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG, Talk Radio 95.5. You take care.
The preceding program was paid for and presented by John DeMasi.